Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this bag here. I don't have a lot of room to show you, but it's bobbles, and it's like the mosaic tile stitch, but it's made with bobbles instead of double crochets in between. So it's like bobbles and V stitches. I would consider this an intermediate pattern, but beginners, feel free to try. I hope that I would be able to teach good enough that you could still do it. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick measurement in case you want to make yours different size. So mine's approximately 18 inches across, and it's about 10 inches wide. It does have a flat bottom here. Now, if you want to add plastic canvas to it, you can cut a piece out. Check out what the inside looks like. Isn't that cool? You may not even want to line it. That's so cool. Sorry about I still gotta have my tails, but that is neat. I think the inside looks really neat too. But anyways, I'll tell you at the end of the video how you could add some plastic canvas, and I will direct you to another video on lining a bag like this in case you want to do that. But that plastic canvas will add some extra strength to the bottom. That's totally up to you if you want to do that. It's pretty basic. Bobbles, V's, there's some reverse single crochet here at the top. I know it's black, it's probably hard to see, just to give it a little bit of a detail. I bought these handles off Amazon. I will put the link below. It's not an affiliated link. I do not make money if you buy them. I don't care if you buy them or not. I'm just going to tell you where I bought them. Of course, you can always make your own handles. You can make 2 short handles, 1 long handle, 2 long handles, 2 short handles, and a long handle. A lot of times I get handles off of old bags at resale shops, so that's completely up to you. You can buy or make your own. And then these I just put on some tassels on for decoration. Other than that, you're going to need some, if you buy handles, you're going to need some regular sewing thread and a needle to sew them on, and of course some liner if you want to line it. So what do you say? Want to go ahead and give it a go? I think it turned out pretty dang cool. I like the colors of it, and I just think the inside is so neat. I guess you can make it reversible. If you didn't want that plastic canvas at the bottom, you could like reverse it. Maybe if you made your own handles, you could put, you guys could probably figure it out if you wanted it reversible. Anyway, it's just a thought. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, for this project I used Red Heart Super Saver, which is a medium weight number 4 100% acrylic yarn. So you do not have to use this yarn. Any medium weight number 4 will work. So the color I used, my main color I used is black. This is all I have left of my black skein, which is approximately 364 yards. So you're probably going to need about 350 yards of your main color, the black. And then you can do as many colors as you want. So I'll just show you all the colors that I used. And then I used cherry red, probably 75 yards, maybe 50, 75 probably. And then I used pumpkin, probably the same amount. Bright yellow, same amount. Patty green, same amount. Maybe 100 yards of each of those. That's just a guess. Amethyst, and then a royal. Now remember, any colors you want, you can make it like one main color. Then you can make all the bobbles one color if you want. That's completely up to you. Then you'll need that piece of plastic canvas if you want to put that in the bottom, like I mentioned. And then I'm going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Okay, we start on the base first. I'm going to show you on a smaller scale because it's really easy. So you want to start out with a chain of 46 for your base. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. And then we're going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain. And when you get to the end, remember mine's gonna be smaller than yours, you'll have a total of 45 stitches. And then what we'll do is we'll just chain one and we'll turn our work. And we're going to put one single crochet in every stitch of the for row 2. We're going to put our single crochet right back there into that same stitch, our first one. And then we're going to work one single in every stitch again until we get to the end of the row. And we're going to keep working rows of one single crochet in every stitch for the base until we get a total of 15 rows. Chain one and turn. You'll always have 45 stitches at the end of every row. Now, those of you who are going to ask what the multiple is, it is a little difficult to working with a base like this. You have to make sure your multiple's correct. There's really no, you got to figure up your starting chain. I'll show you. So the bobbles for the mosaic tile is done in a multiple of 3. So you need to make sure when you finish your base, I did 45, I have 45 stitches across, 15 tall, and then I went around the whole piece also, putting 3 single crochets in each corner. Altogether, I knew that would equal a multiple of 3. So that's just something that you gotta kind of figure out on your own. You just need to make sure that when you start your mosaic tile that it is a multiple of 3. As for the base, if you're not following along with me, it's just kind of something, it's trial and error. You just gotta figure out the rows and the length until you get the multiple of 3. But that's it. You want to continue doing the base, working one single crochet in every stitch, rows of single crochet, 45 stitches at the end of every row, and you want to do that for a total of 15 rows. Okay, so I got the base. I've done a total, got my 15 rows done on the base there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go around it all to clean up all the edges, and then it just makes it easier to build up the backpack that way. So I just stopped on my 15th row. Don't tie off. We're going to continue along with this color, and we're going to work down the side here, putting one single crochet in every stitch. So the first stitch is going to go kind of right here on the side where your last stitch on the top row went. So what I do is I chain one, and then I continue and I go along the side right in between the last stitches there, and I go along the side. You can see the last stitch there, go in between this little spot here, one at the end of each row. You know, I thought it'd be hard to see this black, but it's actually way easier to see this black than it is white. Can't see nothing white on my white background. So I'm just going to continue putting one single crochet here at the end of every row until I get to the corner, and then we'll go around the corner a bit differently. Okay, here's the end. You want to go into this last spot right here, and then the corner is this spot right here, and we're going to go into that spot, and we're going to put 3 single crochets into that same stitch. That just helps round the corner out a little bit, keeps it laying flat. And now we're going to work one single crochet across the bottom. So we did 3 into that corner. Now you'll be able to see these where your single crochets need to go here. Now this is across the bottom. It's actually the very first row that you did. And we're going to work one single crochet in every stitch until we get to the next corner, and that's where I'll meet up with you at this next corner down here at the end. Alright, I'm coming down here to the end. I have 2 stitches left. Now when you get to your last stitch here, you want to go ahead and put 3 single crochets into that corner. And now we're going to continue down the side like we did the other side. 1 single crochet at the end of each row. Until we make it up to the next corner. I'll just continue. I'm almost there now. Alright, so here's the end of the row. So here's the top of the next row. This is where we'll put 3 stitches. You want to make sure you get this last stitch right here. And then the top of the row here, you can see the stitches quite well. Put 3 single crochets into that last stitch, or into that very first stitch here at the top of the row. Here we go. Now we're going to work across the top of our project, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch until we get to our starting point. Alright, I have made it all the way across the top and I'm at my last stitch right here on the end. So you can see this is the last stitch. Here's that chain 1 that we did, and here's the first single crochet that we made. So what we're going to do is go into that very last stitch and work 3 single crochets. And now you want to end here by slip stitching into your first single crochet on this side. Remember, it is not this chain 1, it's the first single crochet here. Go right into that and slip stitch. You should have, and you will need to have, a total of 126 stitches, because the stitch that we're going to use needs to be a multiple of 3. So you need to have 126. So it's okay, say when you get to the end here and you have 125, it's okay to add an extra stitch. Okay, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Or maybe you have 127, it's okay to take a stitch out of that corner. It's not going to be a big deal. You just kind of do what you have to do, as long as you're close to 126, you know, to leave a stitch off or add an extra stitch here to the corner to make sure that you have 126 stitches. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to start off by putting, we're going to go around, we're going to start working the bag now. So the base is done. Later on we'll add plastic canvas to it. Right now we're going to start working the bag. So the bag will start to, or the backpack, it'll start to build up right now. So first off, what we're going to do, we're going to call this row 1 of the backpack, since we have the base done. We are going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch, working through the back loops only. So we will chain 1, and we're going to go back into that same stitch, and we're just going to go into the back loop only of that stitch, like that. And now we're going to work around. And if you don't know what the back loops are, if you look at the stitch, you'll see there's 2 loops to each stitch. When you go in, like I said, it's hard to see with this black. The one closest to you is the front loop. The one furthest away here is the back loop. We are going to go around working 1 single crochet only through the back loop of every stitch. We're not going to be doing anything special or anything different at the corners. No adding extra stitches. We're just going to continue around working 1 single crochet in the back loop of every stitch. And when you get to the corner, you don't, remember I said you don't do anything special, just continue around, putting 1 single crochet, back loop only, just like that, all the way around your entire piece until you get back to your starting point. just like that. And you'll notice your bag's starting to come up a little bit. You'll notice it more later, but hey, it's starting to work out. So go ahead and continue one single crochet, back loop only, until you get back to your starting point. All right, I've made it all the way around. Now you want to end by slip stitching into your first single crochet, not the chain one, but the first single crochet. Slip stitch through both loops. We're not going to be working in the back loop anymore. There we go. Now you should still have your 126 stitches. That's important that you have that amount. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to chain 4. Now that chain 4 counts as a double crochet plus a chain 1. And now we're going to double crochet and we're going to go right back into that same stitch. So a double crochet plus a chain 1 and then another double crochet equals a V-stitch. Now what we're going to do is skip 2 stitches, skip, and we're going to V-stitch in the next. Remember, we're working through both loops now. We're not doing the back loop only anymore. So I'm going to go skip, and then the next I'm going to do a V-stitch. So I'm going to work a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet. And that's what I'm going to repeat all the way now around for round 2. We're going to skip 2, skip, and V-stitch into the next. So double, chain 1, and double. Skip, V-stitch into the next. Double, chain 1, and double. Skip, V-stitch into the next. Nothing special around the corners anymore. It's always the same. We just treat it as regular stitches. We don't put any extra stitches in the corner anymore. That was just that one row. Again, skip, V-stitch into the next. So I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Skip 2 and V-stitch into the next. Alright, I've made it back around at the end of row 2 of the bag portion. So we did the single crochet and the back loop was row 1. This V-stitch row is row 2. Now I have 2 stitches left and that's what I should have. Now I want to go ahead and end row 2 or round 2 by slip stitching in the 3rd stitch of my beginning chain 4. And you should have 42 V-stitches. Now I'm going to go ahead and clip my yarn off. I like to clip my yarn off at the end of every row when I change colors. So that's kind of that's how I roll. I got a lot of tails I hide that way, but that's the way I do it. Okay, now it's important to know that this is the front side of your bag where the V-stitches are facing the right way. Now when we do the rows in color, or the bobble stitch row, we need to work them on the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is flip my work around to where the wrong side is facing me. And I'm going to start my yarn in that last V-stitch here that we slip stitched into. Okay? Remember, we have the wrong side facing us. I'm working like on the inside of my work. So go into this V-stitch, draw up a loop. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work a bobble in this V-stitch. We're going to work a bobble stitch, okay? So we are going to yarn over, go in to the V-stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. We want to do that a total of 5 times. So that was number 1. Again, yarn over, go into the same V-stitch, draw up a loop and yarn over and go through the first 2. So that's 2 times. Again, yarn over, same stitch, draw up a loop, go through the first 2. 3 times. Again, yarn over, go in the same stitch, draw up a loop, go through the first 2. 4 times. One more time, we're going to yarn over, go into that same V-stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. You should have 6 loops on your hook now. We're going to yarn over and we're going to go through all 6. Give it a tug. And we're going to single crochet one more time into the same V-stitch. Just like that. Now when you flip it around, you'll see there's your bobble. It's showing on the right side of your work like it's supposed to. So now we're going to do that in every V-stitch all the way down. So I'm going to jump to my next V-stitch. Okay, I'm going to yarn over, and in the middle of the chain 1 space there, I'm going to do my bobble. So draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through the first 2. We want to do that 5 times, remember. So that's 1, yarn over, draw up a loop, go through the first 2. That's 2 times. Yarn over, draw up a loop, go through the first 2. That's 3 times. Yarn over, draw up a loop, go through the first 2. It's 4 times. One more time, yarn over, draw up a loop, go through the first 2. 6 loops remain, yarn over and go through all 6. Give it a good tug, and then single crochet right back in to that same V-stitch. By single crocheting back into the same stitch, that's what makes that bobble pop out like that. Don't worry about these tails, we'll hide them later. But that's what I'm going to do in every single bobble, or every single V-stitch all the way down around. I'm going to put a bobble stitch, and with the ending with a single crochet. Bobbles are a little time consuming. They are a little bit of, well, I can't say they are a little bit. They are yarn eaters, but the texture that they make is very, very pretty, I think. And then single crochet right back to that V-stitch. Just like that. And this is what it's starting to look like. Now I'm going to continue this all the way around my entire piece until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I have made it back around at the end of row 3, which is my bobble row. I did my last bobble in my last V-stitch, and I single crocheted there. Now I'm going to end by slip stitching into the top of my first bobble right here. Just somewhere right around the top of it. And again, I'm going to clip my yarn. If you don't like to clip your yarn, you like to carry it along, that's fine. I was just taught as a child to always clip my yarn, so it's just carried with me to adulthood. So that's why I always do that. Now, we're going to start the V-stitch row again. We're going to do a little bit different, but we need to turn our work around now so it's facing the front. Remember, you'll have 42 bobbles. You'll always have 42 V-stitches, and you'll always have 42 bobbles at the end of every row that we do. But we're going to do them a little bit different now. So make sure you're facing the front. Bobbles rows are in the back. V-stitch rows are facing the front. So let's start again. Let's start around here somewhere. Now we're going to be working in between the bobbles on the V-stitch row prior. So if you look, here's a V-stitch with a bobble in it. Here is a V-stitch with a bobble in it. We want to work in that space in between the V-stitches and in between the bobbles. So go ahead and start your yarn, go right through that space and pull it through. Okay? Hold it tight. It's the hardest part to get the first one down, in my opinion. always lose it. Hold it tight. Now let's do a chain of 4 to start our V-stitch. Remember, that counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. Now we'll go right back in that same spot and do another double crochet. Just like that. So there's our V-stitch. Now we're going to go to the next spot, which is in between the next bobbles. So here's your bobbles. You can see that they're in these V-stitches from the prior row. We want to work in this spot here, and we want to work a V-stitch in it. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into that spot and double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Just like that. And that kind of makes the bobble pop out a little bit better, doesn't it? It makes it, being surrounded by another solid color like that, it kind of makes it pop. So again, I'm going to look in between my bobbles. Here are the V-stitches from the previous row that the bobbles were in. I want to go right here in between those V-stitches. Drop down to that spot. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to do a V-stitch in it. Go through that spot. I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and then another double crochet. Just like that. Pop your bobble out there a little bit. Isn't that cool? This is going to be so awesome when it's done. Well, I hope anyways. I don't really know. I can only hope and hope and dream. Okay. V-stitches here. Here's the space you want to go in. Go all the way down, go into that space and work a V-stitch right in between those bobbles. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then I just kind of like to pop my bobble through that space. Look at that, it's so cool. So we're going to continue doing this all the way around until we get back to our starting point. So here's my next 2 bobbles. Here's the V-stitches that they're in. We want to work in that space between the 2 V-stitches and do a V-stitch. So go right down and double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Like that. Pop that bobble right through there, and there it is. So I'm going to continue this pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I've made it to the back around at the end of round 4. My V-stitches here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the same way as I did before by slip stitching into the 3rd chain of my beginning chain 4. You still should have your 42 V-stitches. I'm going to clip that yarn off. And now I'm going to start on my next row of bobbles. So remember, bobbles I worked wrong way, so we flip it around like this, and we're going to do the bobble row the same way we did the other bobble row. We're going to work it in the top of these V-stitches here that we just made here. So you can start here in any one of these V-stitches here around the corner. Just go right in into that chain 1 space of that first V-stitch there, or any V-stitch here. I just like to do it around the corners so the seam's not quite so visible. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to make my bobble into the same space here. Chain 1 space. So we make the bobble just like we did before with the other ones. There's 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through all 6. I always give it a tug and single crochet back into that same V-stitch. There we go. Now we jump to the next V-stitch there from the previous row right here, and we work a bobble right into that chain 1 space. Six loops, yarn over, go through all 6, give it a tight pull. If you have to pull that bobble over, that's fine, but go ahead and put a single crochet back into that same V-stitch space. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way around now. Very similar to the last bobble round. Actually, it's the same. We're just bubble stitching in the chain 1 space of every V-stitch from the previous round. We're bobble stitching and single crocheting in each one of the chain 1 spaces from the V-stitches from the previous round. So I'm going to continue this. Remember, it's the same thing that we did on the last bobble stitch row until I get back around to the beginning. But let me flip it over and show you. The difference is when you flip it around to the front to where the bobbles are showing, they will be catty cornered a bit, which will show up. It'll show up more when we get the next round of V-stitches in between the black, but you'll notice that they'll start to be just kind of catty cornered, the colors. That's pretty much the only difference. So I'm going to continue around until I get back to my starting point. Alrighty, I made it back again in the bobble row. So this is row 1, 2, 3, row 5 now we're on. So I did my last bobble and my last V-stitch, and then I single crocheted. Now I'm going to end it again by slip stitching into my first bobble. 42 bobbles is what you should have. I'm going to go ahead and clip my yarn again. Remember, if you don't want to clip your yarn every time, that's fine. I learned it as a child, so it just stayed with me. So that's what I do. Okay, now we're going to do our V-stitch row again. So now we have to turn it to the facing the right side, and we're going to do our V-stitch row the same way we did the last one. So you want to start just somewhere around this area where we're kind of been starting the whole time. And we want to start in between. Okay, here's your bobbles. And here is the V-stitch that bobble's in, and the V-stitch that bobble's in. You want to start in between them. So basically on top of this bobble, go right on top of that bobble from the first row of bobble. Go right into that spot. Start your yarn. It's always hard to start for me. First one. Chain 4, which is a double crochet and a chain 1. Go back in that same spot and double crochet. So that's your first V-stitch. Now we're going to jump again in between the next 2 bobbles. And it's also in between the next 2 V-stitches. So if you look, here's your 2 bobbles. Here are the V-stitches that they're in. So you want to go into this spot right here, which I said is basically just right on top of that bobble from the 2 rows down. So just go right into that space and do a V-stitch. A double crochet. Chain 1 and a double crochet. Again, we'll move over in between the next bobbles, and if you look, it's just easiest, I think it's just easiest just to remember that it goes right into this space on top of this bobble here from that previous bobble row. It's easier for me that way to remember, right through that space, and do a V-stitch. And we're going to continue this all the way around. So it's basically the same as the last V-stitch row. Actually, it's exactly the same, pretty much, right here. See this bobble? It's kind of right in that spot right there. It's just easier to see it that way, I think. V-stitch. And remember, you can pop your bobbles out. You can pop them out at the end, or pop them out as you go. But look how cool that's going to look. That really stands out a lot better once you get the black V-stitches in between them. That's so cool. So now, once you make it back around, you know, you'll end your V-stitch row in the 3rd chain of your chain 4. And then you'll start on the bobble row again. And it's just a repeat now. We're going to repeat rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we'll repeat bobble, V-stitch, bobble, V-stitch. And the only difference between them is the bobbles are catty cornered. So your next row of bobbles will be here, and here, and here, and here. Just like that. It's really pretty easy. So, and you want to do that until you get your backpack as tall as you want it to be. Now, I'm not quite sure how many rows I'm going to do. But I'll let you know here in just a second how many I do. Now, remember, you'll have 42 total bobbles every row and 42 total V's every row. Alright, so I got my bag as tall as I want mine to be. Now mine is a total of 12 of the bobble rows. As you can see, I did 2 repeats of the rainbow colors. So 12 of the bobble rows is the height of my bag. You can continue to do as many as you like. But I went ahead and I ended in a V-stitch row. Right there. So altogether it was 26 rows. And that's counting that very, very first row of single crochet down here. Total of 26. So that made me end on a V-stitch row. But remember, you could do more if you like. Or less. It doesn't matter. So now what I'm going to do is go around the top with some single crochet. So I went ahead and I ended there in the 3rd stitch of my beginning chain 4 there like always. So what I'm going to do is chain 1. I'm going to go back into that spot and single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next double, and I'm going to jump over here to the next V-stitch, and I'm going to single crochet into the double. I'm going to single crochet into the chain space and single crochet into the double. Again, I'm going to jump to the next V-stitch, single crochet into the double, into the chain 1 space, and then into the double. And this is what I'm going to repeat all the way around. I'm going to just be single crocheting into every single double crochet and every chain 1 space all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Okay, I've made it to the end of, this would be round 27, and you should have a total of 126 stitches because that's what we started with. Now I'm not going to end my round with the slip stitch. What I'm going to do is use a stitch marker, and I always just use a piece of yarn. And I'm going to place this here. That way I know where I end and where I begin. Now what we're going to do for round 28 is a row of decreases. So like I said, we're not going to end by slip stitching. We're just going to jump over here to the first single crochet, and we're going to start working. Not the chain 1, but the first single crochet. We want to do 7 single crochets in a row, and then we'll do a single crochet decrease. So go ahead and jump over and work 7 in a row. There's 1, there's 7. Now we're going to do a single crochet decrease. Now the single crochet decrease is worked over 2 stitches. So we go into the next one and we draw up a loop. And then we go into the one after that and we draw up a loop. And then we're going to have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and go through all 3. So that took 2 stitches and made it into 1. And that's what we're going to repeat now all the way around. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet into the next 7 stitches. And then I'm going to single crochet decrease over the next 2. So I'm going to go into the next one and draw up a loop, and then the next one after that and draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through all 3 loops, just like that. Now I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around until I get back to my stitch marker. 1 single crochet in the next 7, and then single crochet decrease. 1 single into the next 7, and single crochet decrease until you get back to your stitch marker. Alright, I made it back to my stitch marker. Now your last stitch should have been a decrease, and you should have a total of 112 stitches now. I'm going to move our marker up, and now we're going to go around again. Now this time we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch, and this is round 29. So no more decreasing now. This round is just 1 single in every stitch until you make it back to your stitch marker. Alright, I made it back around at the end of round 29. 112 stitches still. Now I'm going to do one more thing here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm at my stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch now into the next stitch. And I'm going to now I'm going to work a reverse single crochet just to kind of give a little bit of an edge at the top. Sometimes people call it a crab stitch. I always call it a reverse single. So it's very easy. We're just working a single crochet, but we're going to work it this way, kind of backwards. So we'll start off with a chain 1. Now we're going to go into the next stitch and work a single crochet. So kind of go like this. it's really easy. It's just a single crochet, except for we're just working it in the opposite direction. And it gives it a little bit of a twisty look. And I'm just going to put one single crochet in every stitch. But we're just working it backwards. Just like that. Very easy to do. It might take a minute to get the hang of it, I guess, since you're kind of working in a direction that you're not normally used to. If you're right-handed like me, it's a little awkward at first. But after a little bit, you get the hang of it. It's just one single in every stitch, all the way around, working in the reverse direction. And we're going to do this until we get back all the way around to our starting point. And if you look, I'll stop for a minute. That's the kind of edge. It gives it just a little bit of a, just something different at the top, you know. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but just gives it a little bit different to finish it off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that all the way around until I get back over here to where I started. Alright, I made it back to where I started, and you just want to end kind of in that chain one, if you can, or just kind of in the first stitch, somewhere around here. Now you should have 112. If you don't worry about it. As long as it's close, this part doesn't matter anymore, but it's always hard to end it in that. Slip stitching into that. I'm slip stitching into the chain one that I did there. Trying to reverse style. There we go. There we go. I think I got it. Alright, I did. Now we can go ahead and clip that off. You don't need that marker anymore. And then we will hide that tail. Now we can put on our handles. Now the handles are up to you, on your discretion on how or what kind of handles you want to put. You can put one long one, two short ones and a long one. However you want to do it. Your bag, your handles, you decide. Or you can purchase your own like I did, which I said in the beginning, mine came off of Amazon. But I'm going to sew mine on with the thread and needle. Somewhere probably right here on the bobbles. So let me go ahead and get my needle and thread ready. That way I can show you how I'm sewing mine on, just in case you have the same handles as me. Okay, so I got a regular needle with some black thread here tied up. Now, in case you have handles like this, now you just kind of lay your bag out to where it's even on the bottom. So you can see I kind of just folded it in the middle here, and I made it completely even as best as I could. And I always just kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to flip my work around here so you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. So I try to get it even as possible. And then you have to decide where you want to put your handles. You can put them wherever you want. I think I will put mine 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to count 5 rows of my top bobbles in, and then I'm going to place this on the 6th one, like that, and the 6th one on this side, and it's going to go down to the 2nd and 3rd row of bobbles too. Now that's where I'm going to sew mine. Now I'm going to sew mine like that on both sides, but you can sew your handles wherever you want, and remember, you can make your own handles too. Now to sew these on, you just kind of hold them still, go underneath, and you just go through the holes here that they have set for you. It's not always the easiest thing to do. It's hard to see what you're doing half the time. I poke myself in my hands all the time going through that letter. They don't really have the holes punched out for you that well. Just giving you the heads up. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but and you just go through and try to keep your handle as straight as possible. And just go through the holes. back and forth. And like I said, they make the holes like half away through, so you got to poke the rest with your needle. Sometimes it makes me mad. I'm sorry. There we go. I can't get it in the right spot. There we go. And I'll go back up. So basically, that's kind of the gist of how you sew the needle or sew these on. There's really not no special way. I just kind of sew it the best I can and as straight as I can, and to the best of my ability without poking too many holes in my fingers, just to where I know that it's sewed on and that it's not going to come undone. So you do this side, and then you do the other side the same way in the same spots. But remember, if you want to make your... Man, this one's giving me a lot of trouble. I'm sorry. If you want to make your own handles, that's perfectly fine too. So I'm going to continue being frustrated with these handles probably the whole time. Getting these sewed on real quick. So I'm going to sew on this side, and then this side, and then I'm going to turn it around and sew on my other handle in the same spots that I did on this side. Alright, now once you get both of your handles on, I'm just going to put some, you don't have to do this, some yarn here just for decoration, kind of like a tassel, but I guess not really tassels, just some yarn string in here. You don't have to do this. Sometimes I like to add keychains here to my thing, or to my rings. Sometimes I leave it plain. It's really whatever you want to do. I'm just going to tie a knot. This is just decor. Remember, you don't have to do this, but... And one last thing after this is... Now, I'm not going to align this bag right away, but I will link up a video at the end of in the description box and at the end of this video of a bag that has similar shape, and it will show you how to line the bottom with a piece of plastic canvas, and then it will also show you how you cut the plastic canvas out, and then you'll place it in the bottom. I gotta hide all them tails. Don't the inside look pretty cool? And then it'll show you how to line it, sew this in, and then line it with some fabric. If you want to watch that video to line this bag, you can. I think it looks pretty cool not lined myself, but then again, it does have a few holes in it, so you might need it lined. So I don't know, that's up to you. But that's it. That's all there is to it. Now you can decorate it any way you want. If you want to decorate it, you can add the little tassels like I did. You know, brooches are always cute on bags. You could put brooch here to hold it together. You could put a little strap over it to hold it together. You can leave it the way it is. It's completely up to you. But I am done. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, if you enjoyed it. Also, look over there on the right hand side, and I will put the bag that I lined that's similar to this. It'll show you how to put the plastic canvas. It'll show you how to line a bag that's this shape. Just fast forward all the way to the end to where I show how to line it, and you'll be able to do that if you decide that you want to do that. But until next time, have a good day.